MV3 Traders Futures Trade Radio is brought to you by The Ultimate Trader's Guide, your one-stop shop for the most valuable income-producing information on the internet. Go to ultimatetradersguide.net to learn more. Link in the description below. All right, what's going on? How we doing? Hope everybody had a good week. Sound check is coming through good. All right, so I'm back at it. Had to take me a little break early on during the week. I actually needed that break. I think I had a little bit of burnout going on, but refreshed and back at it. I started trading Wednesday, so here we are today to close out the today's session. Got the volume check here. Make our way down. Today we got Powell right at B period. Of course, he has something to say. We'll see what he's talking about. So it should be interesting to see what takes place, price action leading up to Powell doing his thing. But for now, let's see what we're looking at. It's greater than yesterday. I think we're a little lighter on the volume this morning. We had strong volume yesterday, a lot of movement yesterday. Very interesting price action in the previous session. We completely took out the last two trading days with an engulfing bar, like from a daily perspective. Definitely not expecting the same thing, at least for A period today. Great. NQ doesn't have as much movement today as the others on the index board. Say, call it roughly 14,750. I'm gonna keep my pre-market analysis kind of light today. Let's go with the flow. Volume falling off below the PR low around 14,830. Ain't that'll do us? Go ahead and post that to Twitter, which also goes inside the journal. All links, if you're interested to anything external to the actual streams, like the journal or the Twitter or anything like that, the Discord, all of those links are in the description. Well, I go into a lot more detail when I'm not streaming live inside the journal, certain things. That journal at this point should have a lot of information in it. I'm not at the beginning of my journey, but like early on, at least since 2018, I would say. That's when I started posting the journal live on the website. Got about 4 minutes before the bell. Make sure I got all my stuff and I'm ready to go. What's happening, Corey? Make sure I save my charts before I think it was Wednesday, right before the session opened, or my trading time. Like I had some weird little brief quick power outage, and when it happens, like my monitors they'll go off, so it kind of messed my charts up. Put my charts all on my laptop monitor, so I had to redo everything. And with Sierra chart, like so I have my monitor, my windows, my chart windows in a certain position. Yeah. And it's because of the system that I use. So like if something happens and the windows get thrown off, what I have to do is I have to close everything down without saving, and then I have to reopen from the last save point so that all the windows open up in the right place. And that kind of messed me up on that day. So I have to make sure that I save my charts after making all my pre-market drawings and stuff, where I mark off the volume gaps and all that stuff in the session high and the low. else I have to, it'll be like Wednesday. I forgot to do that Wednesday, and ended up needing to do all of that over again. Anyway, I got that done today, so got less than a minute before the bell. It's like I'm ready to go. And last Friday I did mention that we we're going to talk about trading from the state of being, pretty much. So I didn't really like just to really fully embrace that topic. I didn't do any preparation ahead of time. Just kind of explored from the actual state of being. And part of that being, part of being is actually being in the moment. So that's what that's gonna be the theme for today, is staying present in the moment. We're gonna trade from that space. And so while we open up here, like real quick on that note, you don't want to really, when you're just being, you're just really fully embracing that state. You don't really want to, carry the energy from previous days or think too far ahead, trying to speculate and think of what the market is going to do. You just kind of be one with yourself, which makes you one with the market. I'm going to try to explain this the best way that I can. Maybe I'll make like a Trader Triggers episode where I actually have more time to really focus on the topic. Well, because if I'm really going to be, then I'm not going to really be able to go into depth while I'm actually trying to trade, because that's taking my focus and splitting it. But when I'm trading, I want to be completely focused on trading and what I'm supposed to be doing with my trading business. So anyway, with all that being said, it's going to be business as usual. I'm going to be mostly focused on this A period, looking for my setups. Not a whole lot of narration unless I get to a slow point, or if I see something significant, like right at the open we just broke out of. We had a break of the session high, and now we're coming back inside of that potential look above and fail. So let me just see how this plays out. And more than likely today, I'm probably going to be done trading before 10. To skip all of that Powell, whatever they want to do with Powell's action. But we're not even going to think too much about that. I'm aware that that's going to happen at B period. That's something to keep my, attention to B period. Or just awareness that, I want to definitely maintain my rules of having my B force break and all of that good stuff. All right, so let me focus. To be honest, I'm looking for like the best setup for me. I'm totally cool with having a no trade day. That's not just because of today, that's any day. So if I don't get the setups that I want to get, then I won't try to force anything. I won't try to force myself to make money just because the market is open. Just noticed that I needed to change something. All right, there we go. So we're dancing around the overnight high. Nice inventory response off the overnight high. And at 918, 916 zone. Interesting volatility spike there on a micro scale. Back to that inventory around the session high. Right now, I'm just looking at this as budgeting, getting ready for the next, whatever the next play is going to be. Of course, I don't have a time frame of when they're going to be done budgeting, but my chart looks like this. You can see a breakout push on the 3-minute. Just taking out as much supply as we can. Not going to speculate. Right, let's go ahead and quickly make our way back. Inside the A1. Interesting perspective for it. They're back below the second, what am I talking? Back below the overnight high. Just as a mental note to self, I did kind of get a couple triggers long up there. Near the session high, above the overnight high. Doesn't mean that we're done. Like, it just, like the price action I was seeing at those triggers, it wasn't it was kind of volatile. So, and then just the supply response. Hindsight to say, you know, it was easy to say that, you know, I made a good decision, but it was just a read that could have went one way or the other. Still gonna dance around the overnight. I don't think we don't appear to be done with the supply yet. Back above A1. Every time we get up to that supply, right now we had that in the 930s. It's been a quick, strong response. Back below the overnight high. Back below my A1 automation. Still dancing, still budgeting. Playing around in this 910 to 950 range. That's where we set up shop. Just had a trigger there at 928, but it spiked so hard I didn't get filled on it. I'll be looking at the session high. The session high, which we just pushed. Well, I'm actually looking at this look above and fail, which seems to be playing out right now. I actually didn't see we pushed the high. But that it's kind of hindsight capital at this point, the 942 area. In the active or in the mind state of being, kind of maintaining awareness to self, which is key for the state of being. I'm just going to refer to it as a state of being from now on, just to keep it simple. definitely to maintain that energy, you got to maintain awareness to self. So with that being said, with the way that, structure is being printed, it's easy to get biased one way or the other, right? And I honestly can see a bias, like bias triggers in both directions, but more than likely based off of whatever you're looking at, most traders would tend to be biased towards one direction. And the way that this environment is set up to trigger these certain biases. So it's just kind of, I'm not saying that you can't, that bias isn't necessarily relevant or can't be relevant and can't help you make trading decisions. You just want to maintain awareness to your bias versus what's actually happening in relation to what you plan to do for the day. And the easy way to say that is just to maintain awareness to your feelings and what feelings are being triggered for you. And this is where journaling comes into play. And it's helpful that you can go back and you can have those feelings, do whatever you're going to do with those feelings, and then you can go back and review that stuff after you've done trading and the dust is settled. You calm down from the session and can see how your feelings were in alignment with what happened during that session. So we're 15 minutes in. I'm getting triggers, but they're so volatile that I can't even get feelings on them. I'm not gonna chase. I'm not gonna try to force anything. It's kind of the price action that I expected today without, again, without speculating too much. So we're still pushing the high. Get that nice supply response every time we push the high. Yeah, for me, that those long positions, like holding it for, especially during this kind of price action, can be difficult. You really get into the mental game. That's why I like to, if I'm going to hold it for a long time, like if I'm going to hold a long position, I just have my target, and I just, and where I'm looking to get out. And some people, they like to take their eyes off the screen. I'm not really that type of trader, but I just, remove myself as much as I can emotionally from the outcome. It's either going to hit my target or it's not. Made it back below the A1. The A1 is now in that 38 to 34 range. So we have weed. there are triggers being triggered in this, and for our long in the supply. You see that we're getting some buy responses inside of supply. It's not really what I'm interested in doing, so I'm just letting this play out. I don't want to fight against my supplier inventory zones, me personally. They can work. They do. I have seen them work, but usually if I'm gonna take, so that'd be like a breakout. And if I'm gonna take like a breakout, I want it to actually break out and then get my trigger above. So if I'm taking a breakout long, then I want it to break out above that previous supply and get my trigger above the supply. So I can front run that if I want to, just, just kind of going through the potential ways of trading, something like that. Just off the top of my head. So I can front run that, with looking for a particular setup and then see how that plays out and then quickly take the loss, or just let it run to my profit. Or I can wait for that whole setup to take place and wait for the breakout, wait for the trigger, then take it. Put my stop wherever I'm going to put it, and just let it play out. It's either going to hit my profit or it's going to hit the stop. Decided to turn my mental trail to an actual trail. That's payout day for me. It's next week, Wednesday, I think. It's just looking for a big up. I'll just say this, I agree with that choice, Corey, for sure. I've definitely been there before. So we're getting closer to that, to Powell's hour. The Powell's hour. Say we got about 7 minutes, a little over 7 minutes. Still pushing the supply, potentially exhausting our supply. Right now, the long still looks good. We're getting good responses from both areas. For inventory, I'll be looking at 930. I'm going to keep watching this, but I think I'm going to go ahead and call this a no trade day for me. Basically, I just didn't get any fills. I had triggers, they didn't get filled. So what's interesting is I don't remember seeing any emails from my brokers that we are increasing margins or anything like that. So the overall market seems to not care too much about what Powell has to say, but we'll see what happens at 10:05 inside of the B period as we transition into B period. Usually when there's a concern for, the broker, these cheap brokers can be a good indicator for potential volatility. And if they're, they see the potential for a high volatility, then they'll react by increasing margins or the margin requirement, usually to 25% of what CME requires. Again, that's not something that I would, I'm not going to change my trading plan off of that. It's just a point of awareness. And it was kind of weird that they're not even acknowledging that. But I mean, they don't always. When Powell has something to say, they don't really care too much. Usually, because he'll want to jump on the mic at these random times. Even though I think 10:05 is an interesting time, but another one of those times that the institutions and whatnot. Well, I'm not gonna speak for the institutions, but at least the brokers didn't really care too much about it. And you may wonder why the brokers would care, because providing you with these cheap margin requirements, they're actually taking on a lot of risk, because they still have to settle those margin requirements. Like, they're still held up to that margin requirement standards from CME Group. So if you end up, just over leveraging and taking some wild, crazy trade and taking a big loss, their books have to be balanced as well. And they have to cover for, whatever you ended up losing that you can't cover on. Really, if you hit those margin requirements, you're supposed to get a margin call, which I've seen other traders talk about. They get a margin call, and you're gonna get your, if you can't quickly deposit more money to cover that margin call, then your position will be liquidated, and then you won't be able to trade until you are actually able to settle that. But until you settle that, then they're responsible for whatever happens, whatever happens from that between them and let's just call it the market. I don't know if I said this before, but the market's game, as to say CME's game in all of this, is to collect fees, and this is how they profit, and this is why we got to keep the game going. This is why there are market makers that have to act. Because we got to collect our fees. Because we're all in this simply to make money. as putting it in a simple way. So we're coming into some B period volatility, a little mild volatility, nothing too strong as of yet, maybe delayed. I'm saying it out loud because I gotta take a note of that inside of the journal. Just want to make sure that I'm aware of it, so I'm not trying to go back and trying to see it in hindsight. This is not always easy to do, especially like this. It was a little bit of quick volatility, but it didn't take price anywhere. We're just kind of budgeting up here inside of this 930s to 40s range. We got about 4 minutes before Powell. Just as a point of awareness. Thanks for the updates, Corey. Appreciate everybody who hit the like button. Much appreciated. Appreciate you for dropping in and we're still just inching the session high higher. Maintaining this markup phase. Maintaining the frequency. Strong supply response. It has my charts freezing. For that 9, what was that? My charts are spazzing out right now. I don't know if that's just me or. That has to be the market, because it got super volatile right there. So we're gonna call that delayed volatility. I'm interested to see what you got. So Hindsight Capital has me glad that I decided to go ahead and call it for today. This ran afoul on me. I'm gonna have to change something on my end. If this is zoomed in perspective, I got a zoomed in perspective. That's the one that's having a hard time keeping up. My 3 minute is good. All of my minute references they're printing just fine. It's that zoomed in tick perspective that was going crazy. Interesting delayed B force or B period volatility. So the print within the next few minutes should be really interesting. This is what I've been kind of waiting to see. I got MSRP at 936-ish. We're making it back to that area. Coming down into the overnight, quickly making our way back to the overnight high. Definitely hope you took profit if you were long. I'm gonna check that out after the stream. On that note, speaking of after the stream, kind of related, but not really. Anyway, so I did kind of put out a poll about another, like doing another kind of like live stream where there's no, just more of like an open trading floor type situation. I think I looked at it last night, didn't really get much of a response to it, but I'll just put it out here for anybody that's still around, and I'll probably clip this and do something else with it. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is on Tuesdays, I'm going to open up one of the voice channels, and we're going to have basically just an open trade floor type of screen share type of situation in the Discord. And if you hear this, you are invited. It's open to anyone that's a member of the Discord. And we'll go. So I'm just going to play it that way. I was thinking about doing it here live on YouTube, but I'm gonna keep it, since I didn't get any responses to it. I figured nobody was interested in it, so we're just gonna do it in the Discord. There we go. We're actually serious about trading below the overnight low or overnight high. Made our way back to VWAP. Came back to that 880 inventory. I think that was set up right before the open. I've already decided I'm not going to trade. This is actually tempting to break that rule, but I'm not going to do it. If I make a decision, I want to stick to it. I'm going to make sure I maintain my discipline. To be honest, in hindsight, I was kind of short biased. I didn't want to really put too much energy to that and just stay present. And of course, with all of this, we did kind of take out all of that supply during A period. And certain things will kind of, as you get more experience with what you're looking at, certain things will become kind of evident as the potential to, to take place. Of course, you don't have the timing of when it's going to happen or exactly how it's going to happen. That's where the difficulty comes in. And then just trying to build a framework around that to participate in the potential that you see. But at the end of the day, going back to the state of being, maintaining awareness of self and staying present. The real challenge comes from fighting, or not even, I don't want to say fighting, but it's an internal thing, right? The challenge comes from whatever you're trying to overcome internally. So as we get a strong supply off of that 880 inventory, now we're back above the overnight high, back to that MSRP. So we're gonna, from a broader perspective, see that both sides has the potential for being trapped. I mean, it's kind of clear that both sides are trapped at this point. So there were definitely loans who initiated, and they got trapped in on that supply response, and then that's going to initiate some sellers to go short, and now they can be feeling the pressure. It's going to give us liquidity on both sides. Now, what percentage of the participants are involved in all of that? I don't have that insight, of course, but for sure, there are traders that did go long that are trapped, and traders that went short that are trapped. And then maybe I'll go into why I would say that in a trader triggers or something. So I was actually trying to make another point, but I think I lost it off of that inventory response. So nice, interesting pushback to that supply. From a 3-minute perspective, while we did cover a wide range there, structurally it's actually not that bad. They just created a box there to kind of take advantage of liquidity. Book map is kind of somewhat freaking out, but it is showing some liquidity long. That's something that I've just kind of still been watching in the background, not really giving a whole lot of attention to. I don't trade off of it, but it's something that's interesting to see. And I do feel like that I'm gonna have to I need to get back into making my trader triggers videos. And one of those topics need to be like really going into the state of being, because I'll do certain things that are kind of outside of what's recommended to do. So like I will purposely put myself inside of some noise that may be counterproductive to how I'm trying to trade. That's, for me, that's like a kind of a sharpening my saw type of thing. And there's some other nuances inside of my objective there, my intent with doing that. And then I'll look at other stuff that I will not use to trade or for trading decisions whatsoever, but I just look at it just to look at it. And all of this comes with the overall objective of participating in this environment which in my opinion, or for me, is mastery of self. And then I think that's where your edge is. I think that's what the point I was trying to make. You're here. When I hear a lot of people talk about edge, they're talking about something that's technical. But, you know, I'm not going to go into it here, but I don't see you can have a technical edge, but I think the true edge is yourself. And the real challenge with trading, that's where I was trying to go. So I'm going to make this point, and then I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for the day. I hear a lot to where the people say that trading is one of the hardest things to do. Oh no, they won't say one of them. They say trading is the hardest thing to do. Now they're talking about for themselves. Trading is the hardest thing to do for themselves. But you know, I'll just say it from the lens of a veteran who had to spend a lot of time in a combat environment. This is not the hardest thing to do at all, right? For me personally. So, you know, it's a matter of perspective. But what I would say is trading is not really that hard in and of itself, because all you're doing is clicking buttons and you're making, you know, opinions about if the price is going to go up or down. How hard is that? That's not really that hard. What comes into what's hard is overcoming all of the hurdles that you have, you know, within, to be able to do that efficiently and be consistent enough to be consistently profitable and actually make money from this environment. And so the real challenge is mastery of self. That's what's the hardest thing to do. And it doesn't matter what you're trying to do, whether you're trading, you're playing a professional sport, you're in some other type of profession where you're trying to get the most out of that profession. If it's something like that has the potential to give you significant income, there's a level of self-mastery that will be involved that's really hard to overcome. And just in life in general, like the ultimate goal, or the hardest thing to do, is to master oneself. So I think that's what people are really trying to express, or really projecting when they say trading is the hardest thing to do. Is self-mastery is the hardest thing to do. So I'm going to leave you on that note. I'm going to wrap it up for the day. I appreciate everybody for coming through. Appreciate you, Corey, for all the engagement in the chat and all the updates and the insight and all of that stuff. Hope everybody have a good weekend, a good rest of your session. And until next time, trade it easy.